The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to the Fine to Fab show with Lisa Lieberman-Wang, helping women reclaim their inner peace and power, going from feeling fine to being fab, fabulous, awesome, beautiful, serving to empower you to break through the barriers that weigh you down, to live an authentic life that is healthy, happy, and free. Now, here's Lisa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Lieberman-Wang, your trusted guide on your journey from feeling fine to being fab. The Fine to Fab show is committing to helping women break through the barriers to live an even more authentic life that's healthy, happy, and free. It's all about empowering women. And if you want to be part of this fabulous community, you just need to text the keyword Fine to Fab to 90210 and be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn at Lisa Lieberman Wang, and also visit our site at finetofab.com. You know, looking at me now, you'd never know I had a long history of eating disorders, depression, medical challenges, sexual abuse, countless hospitalizations. And a lot of people will turn around and see me as I am today and never know that my lifelong question was, what's wrong with me? And there's a lot of people out there that have suffered and hurt themselves in some way, and I've learned to stop doing that for the last 20 years, where I found self-sabotage was not the answer. There was a better way, and this is all about bringing people the best and be able to have other options for you and give you the tools to do so. Today's episode is really about dreaming bigger and getting out of your own way, and I am so excited. I want to share with you a little bit about our guest. Havilah Malone is a visionary treasure hunter for proof of what's possible in life. Born and raised in Kenner, Louisiana, graduated from University of New Orleans at the young age of 19 with a major in dramatic arts and communication, minor in psychology. Havilah started her career in the Fox 8 newsroom as a production assistant, eventually became field producing show segments. She's worked with the Travel Channel, AMC, and many indie projects, acting, producing, directing, editing as a certified avid editor. She's been incredible. Has a keen eye for business and technology, has led the computer giant Hewlett-Packard as a district sales manager, managing $100 million plus territory for nearly a decade. During her tenure, she had the distinct pleasure of serving as a national spokesperson, and you might have seen her on QVC or HSN or Shop at Home TV and more. Her charisma, dazzling smile, and you'll love to see her because you know she just lights up a room. Business savvies led her to millions of dollars in on-air sales and raving fan base. Her passion for broadcast media, helping others, landed her starring role in Style Network's TV, The Amandas, where she helped families and businesses get organized. I know a lot of people want to know about that. The multi-talented Malone has also starred in commercials, films, modeled for Sears, Fashion Week, New Orleans, and more. She's a columnist through Breakthrough Media magazine. You can find her in so many different places. She's also in development of a documentary and TV show as a host and executive producer. She volunteers her time with the youth and passionately encourages people to follow their dreams. Her nurturing spirit, inspirational voice, magnetizing personality are only a unique representation of the city of New Orleans, but also the future of the country. And I am so happy to have her here as our guest. And Havilah, are you with me?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much.
Wow, there's so many things that you have done and so many things I'm sure you can share with us. And I wouldn't even know where to start specifically other than to say if there's anything I didn't cover in that fabulous introduction. What else would you want everybody to know about you?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a mouthful, definitely. I absolutely light up when I see people really going after what they want in life, and when I see people who, no matter what the circumstances are that they're faced with or the things that's happening with them, they just really go for it and dream big and get out of their own way. So that is something that I'm very passionate about, and definitely moving forward with, not only working through my own, issues in life, because yes, I've accomplished a lot, but it's not always been an easy road to get there. So I'm very passionate about people. So, and then of course, my background being in television and in corporate America, I mean, those are things that are just in my blood and that I love.
And we talk about challenges, and I believe that people would also see you, as I've had challenges in the past, where they see us where we are today and think you never had a past. Like you just woke up one day, had this rosy life, and everything is good, and it just kept getting better. I'm sure you get that a lot too.
Oh my goodness. Because I'm such a positive person, and I'm always smiling and happy, and people, just assume that, okay, well, you have no issues, you have no problems, you've never been through anything in life. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. I'm like, what have I not been through in life? But it's just about continually being on that path of growth and trying to, overcome those things so that it's not a stumbling block. And, whatever happens or circumstances that you have in life, it's all about using that to become stronger and to grow from. And you're absolutely right. Everybody goes through something. Like I said, if you could walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, then you would understand that you are not alone, and no matter what struggle you're going through, in no struggle at all whatsoever, you are not alone.
Right. And I always believe that I would not want to walk in anybody else's shoes. As bad as there are moments in my life I didn't like, I would not trade any of them for anyone else's.
Oh my goodness. I was at a talk once, and the gentleman, he made the mention of, he says, if you take all of your problems and you put it into a brown paper bag, and everybody brought that brown paper bag up here on the stage, he said, I guarantee you, as you started to look through those brown paper bags that were up here, you would pick up your own and take your problems back with you, as opposed to taking somebody else's. Because what we see on the surface a lot of times, because a lot of people suffer through things, but they suffer in silence, and they never talk about the challenges or the things that they've had to deal with in life. Like for me, I mean, I've suffered with being severely obese at one point in my life. I have gone through a divorce and losing trust in, my mate, and losing trust in, relationships in that arena. I have been, as a child, I was molested. I mean, so there's been quite a few things that I have dealt with, and you never know these things about individuals, and you just kind of oh, they just have this perfect life. And, it's not always the case, but we definitely would take our own problems as opposed to somebody else's when we get to really peel back the layers.
Yes, I agree. And, let's go and even talk about some of the things that come from that, because today I know it's easier to say things about, going through different feelings where you don't feel good about things or trust anyone or been violated in some manner. But there had to be a lot of growth. And I know for me, it took years before I ever came out to even share it, let alone not say it without crying. I mean, that took me years too, where I finally separated myself from the act of what happened versus it being about me. So what were some things that you had to deal with, and some lessons you learned to be able to get over? And, even starting with the fact of being, I want to use the word victim, although I don't use it strongly, but of child molestation is a victim because you didn't know any different.
Right, absolutely. And what was really wild about it is that I didn't even remember those things that had happened until later on in life. And there were some things that happened that triggered those memories and what had happened. And it was completely devastating for me. But it showed up in different ways in my life because I had very low self-esteem. And even though I accomplished a lot throughout my life, it was never good enough. I was always searching for the approval of others. I was always searching for, what do I need to do to be good enough? And, so it definitely affected me, even though I didn't understand or realize what it was. And when those memories were triggered, and it did come up and bubble to the surface, because your mind is a very powerful thing. Extremely, and it will even go into survival mode to be able to protect you. But when you are ready and can deal with things, then your mind will start to unlock. And for me, when it did kind of bubble to the surface, I didn't know how to handle it. Like, I was so ashamed, and I felt, like horrible about myself, as if I did something wrong. And I had even gotten to the point, it had gotten so bad that I had contemplated and attempted to commit suicide. And
wow.
Fortunately, that wasn't the path for me, and it did not pan out, because now, looking back in my life, and now fast forwarding to today, there's so many people who go through those same type of things. I think it's like 3 out of 4 women have been, molested at some point in their life. And I think it's either 1 or 2 out of 4 males have been as well. So it's kind of like, instead of that suffering in silence, allowing that story to be told so that you can help somebody else who's going through that same or similar circumstance. And
yeah, I've actually heard studies that said that 85 to 90% of women have been sexually abused in some manner. It could be violated, or, it doesn't have to be the extremity of a rape, but there's been some form in their life or time that they felt violated or sexually abused. And the numbers are as astonishing, even higher than what you shared, of 85 to 90%. And that's scary, because that's where the secrets come. And they always say that, secrets killed. You're holding on to it thinking you did something wrong, when it was an act that was inappropriate and wrong, not necessarily you. But tell me, and tell our listeners also, what had to happen for you to get clarity, and how many years before you realized that it wasn't about you not being good enough? What was the time frame on that, of feeling like you didn't want to be here, to realizing that you had a purpose to be here?
I really, as far as being able to even speak about it and come out and openly talk about it, it's really only been within like this last year, because I was so, like that's the secret that you hold close to you, and you don't want anybody to see those things about you or know those things about you, because again, I was always worried about what other people would think, and how other people would feel about me, and like, again, as if I had done something wrong. And so it was after I had attended an event. I went to a Tony Robbins event. It was called Date with Destiny. And through that, you really got to look at your value system, your rules around your values. You got to look at different things that have happened in your life, and coming to the understanding that, I am not my circumstance. I am not the things that have happened to me or, in my life. That's not who I am. And so being able to get that perspective that was outside of my own, and during that event, and then successive other, things that I have gone to and that have been, very healing for me, I was able to kind of, detach, I won't say detach myself from that being who I am, because that's not who I am. It's something
Right.
that happened, but it's not who I am. And I feel like everything in life is a gift, whether it's the good, the bad, because the person who I am today, I wouldn't be, had not all of the things in life, that I had gone through, the struggles, the challenges, the good things, the magnificent, things. All of those things had to happen to create the person who I am today. And so I am grateful, and I'm grateful for every day, and even the challenges that still come, I'm grateful for, because I know that this is an opportunity for growth. And then what I grow out of it, I can help other people, with it.
Absolutely. I always believe it's the stories we tell ourselves as well as the ones we tell others. So what story were you telling yourself that you had to let go of?
A story I was telling myself. I think for me, I was constantly telling myself that I wasn't good enough. I was constantly telling myself about all the things that were wrong, as opposed to really being able to see all the positive things that I had in my life, and the positive things that were like bestowed upon me in my life. So I really had to get out of this this downward spiral, this downward cycle of my own negative thinking. And I really had to get out of my own way, because I always felt like if I pursued, like the finer things in life, or I pursued, my full talents and abilities, then I was somehow, because I grew up in a very strong, like, religious household, and a very strong, like, I got a very strong Bible-based foundation growing up, which was absolutely amazing for me. But then there were some things that I interpreted through that I had to be small, I had to be humble, and in a way that, not really exploring or not really fully coming to my potential, and that I would lose my relationship with God if I did. So that is definitely something that I have started to grow beyond, and knowing that no, you've been given gifts and talents and abilities, and you have to use those to the fullest, because if not, then you're squandering away what you've been given, and the opportunity and the gift of life that you've been given. So I definitely had to wrap my mind around some very different concepts.
Absolutely. Even to think that, you needed to be small, that's such a visual, and in everything that you've done in your career, it's been about being bigger than life, being on TV, acting, spokesperson, visible in so many ways. Totally the opposite from where your beliefs were before.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, even from the time I was young, I could remember like dancing around my living room and singing and just performing. And I just absolutely loved, I loved it. And so I think there was always that in me where I knew in some way, shape, or form I would be in front of a camera, or I would be performing. But, I would hold back so much, and even opportunities that I allowed to pass by, because I was like, no, I'm not supposed to, make it too big. I'm not supposed to, do too much. I'm supposed to just kind of live, small. But, somehow, some way, it always, some opportunities will come, and, it was kind of like, no, you're here, you're going to shine. So let's put you out there. So I've been very fortunate, and like, this is only the beginning,
Absolutely. And I want to ask you if you could even remember the time where it came from that said you weren't supposed to. Like, where did that message originate? Have you ever thought back specifically to where you heard that?
Well, I would definitely say through where I'm not supposed to. Like I said, I grew up in a very religious household, and like I said, and I think it's a foundation that was wonderful for me, because it definitely offered me a great balance and a great foundation. But for me, a lot of the messages that I was receiving or even interpreting, even through the Bible, was that you're not supposed to, like, your focus is, doing things, not making the most of this world, not making the most of opportunities, in this world. And so, it's more of a spiritual focus, and as opposed to being,
Material.
Yeah, exactly, being materialistic, and which is a good thing. I think not being materialistic is a good thing, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having things. It's about, having everything in balance. And so, like I said, it could have been just my interpretation of the things that I was learning that I was misinterpreting, because I tell you, as I read the Bible now, and as I do my own personal study in my spiritual walk that I'm going through in my life at this point, you know what? No, we were meant to shine. We are children of God. We were meant to go out there and live our lives to the fullest. And of course, putting our spirituality at first in our lives, but there's nothing wrong with being able to go out and pursue your dreams and do the things that you want to do in life. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, is kind of breaking free of some of those beliefs that I had about not really pursuing what I wanted to pursue.
Awesome. You know, and I want to go back to being even severely overweight, where you said that there was a point you were there. And I know from even my history and the women I've been working with for years that food became just all about comfort and support and love. And it was a go-to, at least it was for me. And, you know, what would you say was your reason for getting to that point?
Oh my God. It was like food was my friend.
Mm-hmm. I understand. I mean, it was my best friend. I had to break up. You say divorce. I divorced my food. That too.
Whenever I was like stressed out, whenever I was bored, whenever I was feeling down, I mean, I turned to food as the drug to be able to comfort myself, because it gave me that full feeling that, you know, you can get through so many other more healthy ways. And then too, when the weight just started kind of like spiraling up, you kind of just get into this I don't care mode, even though deep down you definitely do care. But sometimes it just seems insurmountable to be able to come back from, you know, where you are. And then I kept turning to food. I kept turning to food and kept turning to food, as opposed to being able to see, okay, what's the real issue here? What's the real problem here? Let's deal with that, and let's find another way to be able to get you the comfort that you need, or the stress relief that you need, or the connection with other people that you need, and not doing it through food. So and then too, and I can't even because I am from the South, and so food is definitely a big part of our culture. So that definitely doesn't help too much, but at the end of the day, it's about our choices. So you can't really blame it on anything but your own choice, or my own choice, as far as like what I turn to. So
yeah, and it really becomes a thing about comfort and association and being part of, and I call it the social I club, you know, social I eat, I'll socialize, social I eat, all that, and you want to be part of what everybody's doing. And it's not just the South. I have to tell you, go into an Italian home, a Jewish home, a Greek home. I mean, I think it's called people. You know, you go into anybody's home, and you know, think about this. You're an infant and you cry. What did our parents do? They fed us, right?
Yes. Yes.
You know, it was the first association. You know, that's love.
Yeah, and then you grow with the, you know, well, if you don't clean your plate, then, you know, there's starving kids in Africa, or starving kids, you know, somewhere who don't have food. So it was kind of.
I heard the same stuff. I didn't grow up in the South. I just want you to know that.
So it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Everywhere. You know, and here's what happens. I mean, so many people, when they're at that point, will be looking for the next diet or something else. And then they're the yo-yo dieters. And I refer to that as disordered eating. You know, you're good for a while, then you're eating on a diet. The challenge is you get off it. And that's diet, you know, diet has die in it and then a T. So that already is a problem. But the thing is, you actually hit a point of threshold. Okay. And I remember you sharing that. You want to say, what was it that you finally said, this is enough?
You know what? I got to the point, well, I will say it's two things. Well, first of all, being just like fed up. Like I was so uncomfortable. I was sluggish. I just did not feel good about myself. And it was just kind of like, this is not going to work. This is really not going to work. And right around that time is actually when we, from New Orleans, a lot of people are familiar with when Hurricane Katrina hit. And so that just completely turned our world upside down. I actually ended up moving to Dallas, Texas, for a couple years after that, you know, devastation. And I ended up getting with a group of people who were very like health conscious and active and just, you know, all about like natural things and, you know, cleansing and stuff like that. And so being put into that environment and around people who that was their mentality and their mindset and their way of life really helped me. I remember I did a fast I did this cleanse. I did it for 30 days. And of course, like my friends, the people around me were like, are you insane? Like, how are you going to do a liquid like cleanse for 30 days? You're going to die. You're going to, it was just like the feedback was crazy. But after doing that, like, because it completely cleaned out my body, and the things that I craved and that I wanted so badly, I no longer did. And it really helped put me onto a path to starting to eat better and make better choices. And so I definitely say that the people who you surround yourself with is extremely important. You definitely want to be around people who are invested in themselves and who are, constantly about growth. And that helped me tremendously because it was great. It was a great peer group to be around and just kind of opened my world up to just so many new things. And I felt so good. Like, I felt so good after starting to drop the weight, because it was like, wow, it's like, you're holding potato sacks, all around your body. And it's like, as those things start to fall off, you're like, wow, I can move, I can breathe, I can run. Like this is wonderful. So,
right. And until you actually see it and realize it, you get so used to it, you become comfortable in that. But one thing you did say is about who you spend time with. And I agree. When you're with people that value themselves, their bodies, everything, and to live life to a different point, it becomes one of those things that you just want to be around them. It makes it easy for you to stay in a healthy mindset and healthy lifestyle. But when you're around others that misery loves company or misery loves misery, and they just find their bonding in food and not healthy food, it doesn't work. That is such a big point too, because you hit several things that people don't realize is, I've had people say, well, I was with everybody and they were eating this, and I still order the way I want to order, and I've done this for only 20-something years, and so many people feel like they have to go with the tribe. And to me, it's like, find a new tribe if you need to, or be the leader and stop being one of the followers. And the only thing I will say, though, is the idea of a cleanse, I don't want people to think they need to do a 30-day cleanse.
Oh, right. That was just my choice. That was my choice.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that that's not something that I would advise personally. I do talk to people, though, is that a lot of times we don't even realize that our palate has gone to sweets and carbs and things like that, and there are easy ways to change it. As easy as just getting off the carbs and getting off the and getting off the sweets and stuff like that, and just a week of eating vegetables and not having any of the processed foods. If it doesn't come from the ground or come from a tree, you don't eat it. You'll find that you can actually do the same thing and reset your palate, and it's an awesome way to do a detox as well. But so your turnaround became, really about being uncomfortable, and sometimes I'm sure it gets easier, and I know with you it did, but like, it doesn't always have to be an extreme to be able to make a shift. Sometimes when you learn what threshold is, you can actually change your level of what's acceptable.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And actually, like right now, like I still have, a few more pounds that I want to lose. So I actually started working with a gentleman, Dr. Lionel King, who is absolutely amazing, and like really setting up a plan that will work around my life and my schedule, because I'm always on the road, I'm always traveling. And when we talked about like exercise, and it was like when he said that word, it was like I cringed a little bit, because I was like, I don't particularly care for that word exercise. But he's like, well, you don't have to exercise. He's like, what do you enjoy doing? And I was like, well, I enjoy walking, because for me, walking is not exercise. Like it's a time for me to clear my mind out. It's a time for me to be able to get, and I guess because the blood is rushing through, like I get great ideas and clarity of mind, and just kind of become at peace when I go walking. I was like, I love dancing. I was like, I could dance, like turn on some music and dance around my room all day long, or, go somewhere and go dancing. So I was like, so for me, I was like, to me, it's not exercise. Or I can go play tennis. And like, to me, it's not exercise. It's just fun. So it's kind of like, well, do the things that you enjoy doing. don't make it about some like diet plan. Like, do what you enjoy. So we set up a really great plan, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, this is something I can live with. So you do have to, find something that works for you and then be consistent with it.
Absolutely. I used to say exercise was against my religion. And you know what? Nobody ever questions your religion, so they let me get away with it for a very, very, very long time. So now I realize that for me, quite honestly, I was similar to you. I used to dance. I was a professional dancer. I taught for Arthur Murray for years, and then I loved dancing. That was my exercise, but I never exercised even as a kid in school. And the reason I wouldn't exercise was because they wouldn't let me take a shower after. And I decided if I'm going to sweat and you're not going to let me take a shower, then I have a problem and I must be asthmatic and be very sick and I can't do this. So I honestly got a note out of exercise for my whole, my elementary, junior high, high school years. I wouldn't exercise. So I started believing it myself. But today, I can't even imagine not moving or exercising, yet that's only been a 5-year span for me. It took me a long time to convert.
Mm-hmm. I know that's right.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and if you would like to, I'm sure, to be part of this incredible conversation and get to speak to Havilah, you can Skype us on Women for Women Radio or call in at the number I gave you earlier and join us in this incredible conversation of how to dream bigger and get out of your own way. We'll be right back.
If you've always wanted someone to connect with on your path to a happy, healthy you, I've got great news. In her #1 best-selling book, Find to Fab, 7 Secrets of a Successful Woman's Journey Away from Depression, Disordered Eating, and Self-Sabotage, Lisa Lieberman-Wang shares how you can experience your breakthrough just as she did. Start living an authentic life without blame, shame, or years of therapy. Buy now at findtofab.com. Tell me if this sounds like you. You're a woman, you're successful but aren't quite comfortable with yourself. Perhaps you struggle with depression, eating disorders, or some form of self-sabotage. You've tried diets and programs, self-help, psychiatrists, even Overeaters Anonymous, and you're still looking for the answer. Well, get your answer today. Go to findtofabshow.com. That's FINETOFAB show.com.
Well, welcome back to the Find to Fab show. I am excited to have Havilah Malone with us, and we are talking about dream big and get out of your own way, and just talking about all the success that she's had. And sometimes we think just because someone's successful, they haven't had challenges. I truly believe that the challenges that we had to overcome is why we're as successful as we are today. And I wanted to continue and ask you a couple more questions, because this is really great, Havilah. What are the 3 things that you've learned from your experience that have shaped your life today?
The 3 things I've learned from my experience, I think, first of all, that a lot of times things are not as hard as we make them seem. I think a lot of times we build up stuff in our minds so much. There's something that there's something we want to do, and we just like, okay, well, I have to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and it becomes overwhelming. So then we don't do it, or we don't go after it. But I would say, like, just instead of putting things off, like, just do it now. And it's like once you're on the other side of that, then you'll see, that, wow, it wasn't nearly as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And that's definitely reigned true in a lot of things in my life. And I've definitely learned that life doesn't happen to me, but it actually responds to me. So I'm the one in the driver's seat. My thoughts, the way, the things that I say, the things that I do are what, brings, like, it's that law of attraction. It's what brings things into your life, and what you focus on is what you're going to get. So if you're focusing on, everything is so horrible, everything is so bad. Guess what? That's exactly what's going to happen. But you have to focus on what it is that you want in life. And I find that to be so true. And I look back in my life now and I say, like, when it came to, like being on television, like I wanted to be on a network television show. And when I finally kind of set my mind to that, and that's what I thought about a whole lot, it ended up coming to fruition. So I really have found that law of attraction really, works. So you should definitely practice it on a regular basis. And I guess a third thing that's helped shape my life is that I found that, we're a lot more resourceful than we think. Sometimes we're like, well, no, I'm going to need this and I'm going to need that and I'm going to need that. And I don't have this, so I'm not going to move forward. But I've just found to, just say yes and then figure it out, because it's something about putting yourself out there that you will step up to the plate and you will find the things that you need, and you may find that a whole lot more, have a whole lot more at your disposal than you realize. So it's just about stepping out there on faith and knowing that either that step is going to appear or you'll grow wings and fly. So
yeah, and when we hope the step shows up where there are wings.
Yes.
Because we don't want anybody going off cliffs here. It's interesting you say, don't put things off. And, when you think about where you were, even before you've had the success you have, a lot of times people think it's overnight success. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that anything is really overnight success. I think when you show up and they see you successful, they're like, oh, because I didn't know that person before, or I didn't see what they were doing, they showed up overnight. But it was definitely years of hard work in the process, years of, learning and, trying to understand a field or getting to know people and building relationships and working on skill sets that are needed to be able to accomplish things. So it's never, overnight success. And I don't think that if anybody, looks at their own situation or something that they've been really successful in, that it was overnight, because you have to do the things that need to happen for you to become the person that can handle and that can accomplish, bigger and better things. And that doesn't happen overnight. It definitely takes time.
And I love that, because I really believe, preparation meets opportunity. They say luck is labor under consistent knowledge. And so many times people, and even my stepson did this, where, one day he says, what do you want to do? He says, I want to be just like my dad. And I said, well, what does your dad do? And he said, well, he sits behind a computer and makes a lot of money. And I turned around and I said, well, you better marry someone like your stepmom or you're not going to have that. I was like, really? Really? And it's just perception. Like, people really think, well, this is what you do. Don't realize all the stuff, all the work that we had to put in, all the ground and the foundation. And even more so, the one thing you said that I really hold a lot of truth for, and it totally hits home, is your own preparation. Like, so many people want to be successful, but they're not ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people, especially when it comes to like the entertainment field, they're like, I want to be famous, or I want to be, the next, whoever the next big person is. And it's kind of like, but that person, it was many, 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 many years in the making that person was like working on their skill and working on their craft. And at the end of the day, no matter what it is that you're getting into, especially career-wise, it is a business. So you have to understand that the back end of that, and be willing to put forth the effort and put forth the time, and knowing that everything happens within the time that it's supposed to happen. Because sometimes we get very antsy, like, I want this to happen right now, like I want the results right now. But just like with weight loss,
I still do that. I still do that. Yeah. Just with different things.
I'm like, why is this not happening right now? And then that's like, I have to step back and be like, Havilah, there's a bigger picture here, and you can't see the entire picture. You just have, this one viewpoint. And so you have to understand that there's other things that are working around you to make all of it come together. So just being patient, but persistent. And if it's for you, then keep at it, because it will come to fruition for you. And if it's not for you, then the right door that is for you is the one that will open. But know that there's a much bigger picture than we can see. So we have to trust and have faith. We definitely do.
Yeah. And you just started saying, even with weight loss too, it is such a parallel. Nobody gained 30, 40, 50 pounds overnight. It was a progression of a couple of pounds a month or a week for some. And then all of a sudden you want to lose 30 pounds, and you didn't get it off in a week or a month and you quit. But it took so much longer to put it on.
Exactly. Exactly. As soon as you're ready to lose weight, you're like, okay, I'm ready to lose these 10 pounds right now. I want to lose about a month. Like, put them on in 24 hours? No.
Yeah. And I love that because, for me, I tell my women they have to throw their scales away. I said, it's the worst fortune teller you'll ever have, because it makes or breaks your day. If the number's not good, all of a sudden it was a bad day. I said, just get rid of the scale. If your clothes start getting loose, you're on the right track.
Right, exactly. Like, watch your clothes and how they fit, and watch how you feel and the energy you have and your ability to move more. There's so many other indicators for, health and weight loss than just the scale, because the scale can be deceiving at times, and sometimes it can be very aggravating.
Absolutely. So let's talk also a little bit more about some tips that our listeners can apply every day to live an authentic life now. What are some of the things you've put into practice for your lifestyle?
Well, for me, I definitely surround myself with positive, progressive, supportive people, and people who are going to challenge me to be able to really step into my full potential and step into, my purpose in life. And those are people who are also very progressive minded and who are invested in themselves, because the people who you surround yourself with is going to be so incredibly important. It really even goes back to that masterminding principle that comes from Napoleon Hill. And I always say this: if you are the most accomplished, most successful, person in your group of friends, you're more than likely in the wrong group. You really have to be around people who you can also grow and learn from. You don't always have to be the smartest or the best, at something in the room. And that's something I did learn, because I always was like, well, I have to know more, and I have to, be more, because, that was just my own misconcept. And it's like, now, no, heck, if you're smarter than me, great. Let me learn. Let me learn from you. I want to teach me something.
I'm totally with you. And that was even the reason why we met, because of a peer group and because of the desire to really want to, raise our level of peers. I ended up joining the Tony Robbins Platinum program over a year and a half ago with my husband. And it was really about the fact that for the longest time, we were the most successful among our peers. And then I turned around and said, this is not okay, because I got complacent. I got very lazy in so many ways, and I wanted to make sure that I was moving forward. And I said, I need to raise my peer group and then raise my expectations. They both worked, so I'm happy you're part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the same for me. It was like, as soon as I saw the group of people that, Tony surrounds himself with, and the group that is a part of the Platinum Partners, I was like, this is definitely the group of people who I need to be with, because I want to continue to grow and learn, and then share what I can to be able to help others grow and learn. And I remember one of the first events we went to, and I was so quiet, because I was just like, oh my God, I don't know anything. And I was like, all these people so accomplished, and I just felt like, oh my goodness, what in the world? But as you really get to know, and it's the more successful people are, usually they're the ones who are more willing to help you, and they're the ones who are more willing to share their knowledge, because they want other people to, come to that level of success as well. So sometimes we hold back with oh no, I don't want to go and talk to that person. Or, oh no, I'm not going to ask them nothing because they're not going to want to help me. Well, more than likely, yes, they will want to help you if you're serious about what it is you want to do. So it was a great experience. And I absolutely love that group of individuals. And I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to connect through that as well. Because I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful group of people.
I agree. And I think that that's really what has become synonymous on how, raising your expectations, raising your peer groups, knowing that you want to be around people like you shared. It comes to the fact of having a mission too and having a purpose. So let's just, because we're really going to run out of time shortly, tell us how you're bringing your vision and your purpose to life.
Oh, so I guess for me, like I definitely treat people the way that I want to be treated. And it's not about being judgmental about anyone. I try to be extremely understanding. And so I'm really great at getting with people and helping bring out the best in them so that they can, fully step into their purpose. And we're actually, creating an organization right now where we're going to be helping individuals who, like coaches, leaders, entrepreneurs who have messages to share with the world, being able to get them in front of the right audiences, whether it's through, broadcast media and television or radio or print, and helping them get those messages out to the world in a very big way. And I also, I guess for myself, I'm just really trying to live my life to the fullest. We're actually also in the works on a TV series right now. It's a travel and entertainment docuseries. So I want to incorporate what I love to do with work, because really at the end of the day, I don't want to work. I want to live. So that's me bringing, my real passions and desires and things, because I love sharing experiences with others. And, every time I do that in some way, shape, or form, it seems to be able to help and inspire people to live their best lives. So I'm a very open book, in which, like I said, is a lot more recent. I kind of bear it all, and I just hope to help others to be able to really do the best they can in their lives.
Well, I know you're a living example, and for myself as well, I remember when I decided to share some of the challenges, whether it be from, sexual abuse to eating disorders. I never let anybody know this, and just a couple years ago I became public, although I've been doing service for 20 years privately. My mother said, "Oh, you're finally coming out of the closet. I don't have to keep your secret anymore." And I was like, wow, I didn't think of it that way, but thanks, Ma, I was in the closet all these years. But the funny thing is, the more I came out, and I'm sure you're seeing this, came out in the sense of being very open and vulnerable with things, I found that the more people actually felt I was approachable, which I always felt I was, but it was very different from the people who were around me.
Yes, I thought that, if you just show people the positive, you show people the good, then that's what, attracts people to you. They don't want to know about your drama and your issues and stuff. And it's like, no, you become more human, because everybody deals with, some type of pit in their life. So, you're right. People are so much more willing to come to me and open up to me because I am so open, with my own, life and experiences now. So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right. And, I always tell people when they hear that, they think, okay, now I got to tell everybody my woe is me's, and I want to make sure that it's clear that, no, you don't have to tell everybody your woe is me's. There's a time and place. And to me, my story is only told when I think it's going to serve a greater good, and it's going to be a message that can help someone. But I don't use my story as something I want to attract more of. I use it if it's going to help somebody move out of a bad one they're holding on to. So Havilah, I totally love having you here, and I'm excited that you gave us this opportunity to share and enlighten our listeners. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was wonderful. What you're doing is amazing, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Well, this is awesome. And we're going to make sure that our listeners can connect with you at HavilahMalone.com, and we'll have the link on the blog, so they'll get the proper spelling and they'll be able to find you. And for everybody, be sure to join us next week, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern for Find to Fab. And text us, again, text the keyword Find to Fab at 902 on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter at at Lisa Lieberman-Wang. And you can check out findtofab.com. We love you all. Remember, you're fab, fabulous, awesome, beautiful. Have an outstanding day.
Bye.
Feeling tired and achy? Frustrated with allergies? Stress causing you high blood pressure? If you're ready to feel better, have more energy, maintain healthy cholesterol levels, joint flexibility and circulation, looking to reduce inflammation, support healthy glucose levels and sinus relief, plus so much more, Isotonics OPC3 is a food supplement made from a combination of bilberry, grapeseed, red wine, and pine bark extracts, and citrus extract bioflavonoids, all found to be powerful antioxidants. Oligomeric proanthocyanins, OPCs, are bioflavonoids found in fruit, vegetables, and certain tree barks that provide exceptional nutritional benefits to the human body. Studies have shown OPCs to be up to 20 times more powerful than vitamin C and 50 times more powerful than vitamin E in neutralizing free radicals. Isotonics is delivered in an isotonic solution, which means that the body has less work to do in obtaining maximum absorption, as you can drink your vitamins. No pills, binders, or fillers. Buy now at www.amillionproducts.com. Isotonics OPC3.
When I'm